Today, Mayor Mamdani announced the 20,000 square foot store will open at the Peninsula, an affordable housing complex in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx.
Now, the store is expected to open next year, and it's part of the mayor's plan to open affordable city-run stores in each borough.
We are going to use the power of government to lower prices and make it easier for New Yorkers to put food on the table.
Red flags started flying after City Hall invited bodega owners to a so-called roundtable, only to hit them with a barrage of questions about their profits, best-selling products, and business models.
But if you're the bodega owner, how would you feel if the government opened a big grocery store right next to your bodega?
If one publicly owned grocery store that brings prices down in the neighborhood is enough to put someone out of business, then maybe they shouldn't have been in that business in the first place.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This particular topic did not get enough attention when it came out last week, but this really matters. The Mamdani administration is actively working to squeeze out locally owned, minority-owned stores. Right around the same time, it's going to open its first city-owned $30 million grocery store. This can only hurt the locally minority-owned grocery store owners, the ones that have been there for decades. I want you to imagine owning a store. You sink your entire life savings into a corner store. The margins are razor thin. You have to work 10 to 12-hour shifts. Sometimes you have to hire your own family. You keep costs as low as you can because you have to run a real business and there's tons of competition. But a few blocks away, a $30 million government-owned store that opens, and they are sending their own people to ask you questions about what your best-selling items are. You don't have the $30 million in taxpayer money behind you, so what is going to happen to your store?
Mayor Zohran Mamdani says opening the first city-run grocery store at the former site of the Spofford Juvenile Detention Facility in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx will transform what was once a site of pain into one of hope and affordability.
This was a place of failure, where young, predominantly low-income New Yorkers were subjected to brutal physical conditions, human rights violations, and physical abuse. We are reclaiming that same site to tell a very different story.
As part of the mayor's campaign promise to address the city's affordability crisis, he has vowed to open at least one city-operated grocery store in every borough before the end of his first term.
Multicultural Business Coalition Chairman Frank Garcia, his group declined a meeting with Deputy Mayor, saying that they want answers directly from Mamdani himself. Frank, I know you weren't at this meeting with the
but my members were.
Julie Sue. Outrageous. What are they up to? That they were trying to grill these bodega owners about what items do you sell? Which ones are the most profitable? Which ones do you make the most money on? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to get over on these minority-owned bodega owners?
We're all outraged because they have consultants that are really not consulting them. How can you think that the supermarkets are selling cigarettes? Supermarkets don't sell cigarettes. A lot of them don't. It's the bodegas. Now they're saying lottery tickets. They wanted to know what type of profit we're making on that.
This man is describing that City Hall is asking bodega owners what their best-selling items are and which ones are the most profitable. Imagine that you have a business and then one of your competitors that is backed by the $30 million in taxpayer money asks you, well, what's working in your business? How much money are you earning on these items or services? Then you tell that person, what is going to happen to your business? This isn't research. This is recognizance. This is a future competitor backed by tens of millions of dollars asking you to hand over the playbook. What's working for your business? If the city had real, true retail experience, they wouldn't need to ask the bodega owners what sells. But this is the problem with big government and the problem with socialism. They're taking knowledge and expertise from people who actually built it without paying for it, trying to basically copy their skills. Again, how well you think that's going to work when you have people who have no idea what's going on?
I look forward to the competition. At our stores, eggs will be cheaper. Bread will be cheaper. Grocery shopping will no longer be an unsolvable equation. One of those stores will be at La Marqueta in El Barrio.
When there's government-run grocery stores that are cheaper, the demand for those stores is very high. Let's say the price of eggs is $3 at this government-run grocery store, but $9 at the privately owned store down the street. You're going to see lines out the door for people to get these cheaper eggs. Now, sometimes people will buy these eggs and resell them. When that happens, then they're going to start having to track who's buying what. You know they're going to do that in New York. So with these government-run grocery stores, you will eventually see restrictions on when you can shop there. This is what happened in Venezuela. You're also going to see shortages in these stores. The suppliers don't want to sell to these government-run grocery stores at a lower cost. They'd rather sell to the store down the street. You're also going to see the stores down the street shut down because they can't compete. You are going to see shoppers hoarding supplies, so they are going to have to put limits on items.
$30 million to build a building, to build a grocery store? Why? You're supposed to help the budget, not expand it and spend more money unwisely. And that's taxpayers' money, man. So whatever you're giving away, the taxpayer paid for it. There goes your unaffordable. There you go. Keep on giving that away. Before his first term, he'll have the first grocery store open. You're still talking about 3-4 years from now. You're gonna starve. When right now, today, he has the power to have all the grocery stores that are existing and help them out.
We've talked about this in the channel before. They try this approach in other places. It doesn't work long term. Eventually, the city-owned business shuts down. Eventually, someone's going to say, you spent all this taxpayer money. Did anything change?
So I think they're out of touch, and what they're doing is creating more division. Right now, we had the legal counsel call me this week wanting to meet with me. I want to meet with the mayor. I don't want to meet with the legal counsel or the deputy mayor of economic injustice, because she's supposed to be helping minority businesses, not hurting them. They want us to be their consultants. If they got $30 million, let them hire people that know this.
Thanks for giving us
You
the latest
regret
on it.
voting for Mamdani?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good to know.
Now, this is why trust is broken down. This guy voted for Mamdani, doesn't trust the people running this program. They know this is a hard sell. They know that this looks really, really bad. They're trying to ensure that this city-owned grocery store is going to do well, regardless if it takes everyone else around them, the competitors, out of business. They don't care. And they're doing it right in front of these owners' faces. They're not looking for competition from the very government that's supposed to help them. They wanted help. They're saying, hey, give us access to some kind of capital, some kind of loans. We can improve the business, maybe bring costs down. These are the kind of programs that would help. But again, Mamdani wants to have this big splash where he has this big, powerful city-run grocery store where everyone's going to come and grab everything because it's going to be cheaper than anything a local bodega owner that's working by himself or he's working with his family. That person won't able to compete. They were not able to compete with Mamdani's $30+ million grocery store.
The other problem we have in New York City, half the retail stores in New York City are closing because not only are we not getting credit against our real estate taxes, congestion pricing. Anytime you want a manufacturer to come to New York City, you know what happens? You know, this New York City.
They find out the cost.
Congestion pricing.
Yeah.
I'm going to charge you 15, 20% more for your product. So we're hurting the consumer. We're hurting the business people. You can't hurt the consumer and the business people. That doesn't make people happy.
What are we talking, upwards of $30 million? And then if they fail, you know, we're also on the hook, the taxpayer. But if they fail, there's the potential that they ran all the bodega owners out of business and now there's nowhere to shop.
That's not what it costs to open a grocery store in the real world. That's what it costs when the government does it. The government is not efficient. They're not there to save money. If they want more money, they just keep taxing you. Terrible business model when you're trying to be efficient. If you're trying to compete with capitalist competition, no one has unlimited amount of money. Eventually, things are finite and you run out of money. But the government just keeps taxing us and taxing us. Wasted tax money does not help affordability. It just moves the cost from your grocery bill to your tax bill. Most likely, the store won't stay around long term. I could be wrong, but let me know in the comments below if you agree with me that these city-run grocery stores won't make it past 5 years. And the thing is, if they wanted to truly lower prices, there are other cheaper private sector informed options on the table. Tax credit for eggs that no one is even talking about. What they want is to push business owners out of the way.
We're going to be suffering. We're going to disappear. We're going to lay off a lot of people. Where those people are going to get jobs? So they're going to affect not only the supermarket, but those little vendors in the street. There's already too many stores in the neighborhood. And how can you compete against the government or the mayor?
And this is the real cost of policy. These people cannot compete with the government. They don't have hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal. So what's going to happen is actual jobs in this neighborhood, people are going to get laid off. And again, I want to preface this, if you haven't been in New York City, that a lot of these stores are owned by minorities. This will disproportionately destroy minority-owned businesses first. They're supposed to be the ones that Mamdani is supposed to be fighting for. Remember, he's the person that believes that all immigrants should belong here, all this type of thing. And he is literally going to basically destroy their business. The people this is supposed to help are usually the ones that are going to lose first. So you see this dude, he is the New York City DSA co-chair, Democratic Socialists of America. And he's talking to a Fox News host, and he's saying, if a bodega can't survive on a subsidized store, well then maybe they shouldn't even have a business in the first place.
So, for example, here in New York, if you have government-owned grocery stores, right, and that was what Mamdani promised. I know you were supportive of his election, and I interviewed him here. They're up like breaking ground on one grocery store. In what world does it make sense to build a $30 million grocery store and put competitive pressure on the bodegas that are in the neighborhood?
I think that what we saw in the mayoral campaign is the mayor was able to build a movement that inspired people to believe that we could have a government that works for ordinary people, that is actually responsive to the working class.
The inspiration is great, but if you're the bodega owner, how would you feel if the government opened a big grocery store right next to your bodega?
If one publicly owned grocery store that brings prices down in the neighborhood is enough to put someone out of business, then maybe they shouldn't have been in that business in the first place.
This is the ideology here. Their own co-chair confirming that bodegas closing is an acceptable outcome. This exposes the gap between socialism's stated ideals, when they're saying we're trying to help working people, and the actual remedy. The $30 million government store that can bankrupt the very immigrant-owned businesses it claims to champion. How is that helping the people, the working people? Because they own a small grocery store on a corner of the block that serves the local community there? How is that helping the situation?
I thought y'all was against government, but y'all want the government to come in and make all these grocery stores, make all these plans for people, and then push the regular people out. But then y'all against the government? Am I hallucinating? Didn't y'all see what happened to Cuba? I think they still don't have lights over there. And the grocery stores over there barely have food. But y'all are going to vote for this like stupid asses. I don't get it. What's wrong with y'all? The United States is the land of the free. You could do basically anything that you want to do. Over here, it's just going to say government. You're not even going to have the options to get different types of juices. No apple juice, pineapple juice, orange juice, nothing like that. It's just going to say juice mixed with all types of shit. You don't even know what you're drinking, especially coming from the government. It's just going to have a tangy aftertaste, concentrated and thick. Loaded with sugar. That shit gonna give you diabetes.
This is the problem with socialism, at least in my opinion. They have good intentions, but the solutions are bad. We have an affordability problem. It is real, but our government does not know what they're doing. They are trying to replace government expertise with taxpayer money, and that's not going to fix the problem. It's just going to make the problem worse. Living in New York City, I see this every day. People are struggling. Affordability issue is real. I mean, that's the reason why Zohran Mamdani won. But the remedy assumes that the government can just do anything. You already see $30 million for one store proves it doesn't work. Taking the owner's data, their information, their playbook, without their consent, then competing against them with taxpayer money is not help. It's a wealth transfer from small business owners to the government program that admits they won't mind driving them out of business. And you can see why they have the same issue with landlords. It seems like the Mamdani administration is perfectly fine with many of these landlords running out of business. Now, if you're not in New York City, you may not know who the worst landlord is. But the true worst landlord in New York City is New York City itself, NYCHA. You don't believe me? Just check one of their many NYCHA buildings and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.